All right, let's do this. Hey guys and gals, this is Ryan Cortez from Full Screen Ahead, and I was going to try and do a different video where I'm doing a app review instead of maybe a how-to or support video. So let's dive into it. This app is called Things. I went and downloaded it on the App Store. It's $8, so it might be useful to you to get a look as to how it feels before you try and download it. So I'm just going to open it up for the first time here. And it looks like it's asking for notifications. I'm going to hit allow. Sweet animation. And it says it's going to give us a tutorial. And the inbox is made to collect all of your to-dos. Keep your mind clear throughout the day. This section kind of gives you a place where you can put your to-dos in terms of time. So you've got a list of your tasks today. You've got some upcoming in terms of like a weekly basis. And then it will also break it down by month. And you've got any time where it will just show a list of every to-do that you have in no particular time order, but a project order. And then someday it will have to-dos that you've marked as not really urgent, but maybe like long-term goals, like I want to clean out my closet or planning a trip to Disneyland or something. The logbook is a section where you can mark your to-dos as done, and then it will end up there, and you can have a history, like list of everything. So that's what this tutorial is breaking down. If you wanted to collect different to-dos, like if you are clearing out that closet and there's different sections to that task, maybe like clearing out boxes or clearing out clothing, you could break those down into separate tasks and group them as a project called clearing out closet. It was asking if I wanted to keep a project called Meet Things iOS. I'm going to dive into that, and it looks like it gives you a bunch of different projects. This project's called Learn the Basics, and it tells you to tap this to-do, and it shows you what a to-do looks like. It expands it out. There's a little note under it that says you're looking at a to-do, blah, blah, blah. There's some different options that you can have on a to-do, like hitting the calendar button and deciding when you want to be reminded about a to-do. Maybe it's taking out the trash every Thursday. So then you tap that guy and hit, let's say tomorrow, the 25th. So I've got a reminder set for tomorrow, in the sense that it will show up on my today section tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and tap Meet Things iOS. This is a project, and inside of it there are blue headings inside of that. Learn the Basics is a heading, and there's many different to-dos inside of there. I'm going to tap Put This to-do in Today, and you'll see that there's a note that says tap the calendar button, yada yada. You can go through each one of these to-dos and kind of get a grasp of what the app does. But just to give you an idea, there's a cool feature here up top. If you tap, you can hit select and be able to select multiple things. One of my favorite things in this app is that, because a lot of to-do list apps don't allow you to select multiple things and move them around. You can add a reminder to all of those multiple things. Really handy. Let's see. Another cool thing is if you're marking these items as to-do, this is one of the only task managers that will give you an idea of how far along you are in terms of completing a project. Every time that I'm hitting completed task, you'll see that on the top left, you've got a circle that will close in on the amount of to-dos that you have left. So I'm almost halfway done with this project just by simply completing these tasks. There's another handy feature where, let's say I'm going to make a new project. I'm going to go back to the main screen. And in a lot of to-do list apps, that plus button on the main screen will just add a new task in inbox, and then you'll have to sort where that task needs to go later. But you're able to kind of make a new project from here or decide on an area, and I'll go over that here in a second. But let's make a new project. I'm going to say California trip. Headed out there pretty soon. So let's get some to-dos written down. Let's say I need to pack a shirt, pack toothpaste, and pack some swim shorts. Cool. So we have those. Notice they're all kind of packing, so maybe I want to make a heading. If you hit the ellipses at the top next to the project name, it gives you, let's see here. Am I mistaken? Oh, I'm sorry. You hit that down button on the top right, and then new heading. Boom. I'm going to type in packing. And you notice that there's not an intuitive way to move that over. There's not a button to move that down into that heading, but if you hold down on it to task, then you're able to move that down. Pretty handy. Not many to-do apps will do that. But let's say that I'm going to go on this California trip every year, and I've got a whole bunch of headings. I've got a whole bunch of notes in my to-dos, and I just want them to carry over into that other trip so that way I can knock out that list later. You can hit that ellipses at the top next to the California trip name and duplicate project, and it's got another California trip that's created. Let's say, I'm just going to put next year on this. Yeah, so we've got two projects. One's called California Trip, one's called California Trip next year. Pretty cool. Yeah, let's go into areas. So then you've got that plus button, and projects are a collection of tasks or to-dos, and an area is a representation of a different area of your life. So a lot of people have work. Maybe some people have family. Maybe a church or organization of some kind. Let's see if I could spell correctly. There you go. And you can put different projects or to-dos inside of an area. So I'll go into this organization one, hit the plus button, and start adding a important to-do. Pretty cool. Let's take a look. Let's go back into that California trip. And I wanted to show you that you could easily add a to-do wherever you want inside of things by tapping the plus sign and dragging it to wherever you want. So you can drag it into a heading, like packing, or you could drag it to where it has no heading. I'm just going to do no heading. Let's see. New to-do. Let's say, I don't know, check resting spots. Check for resting spots. Pretty cool. So then maybe you want some to-dos inside of a to-do. You've got projects, but you're already invested in this project. Maybe you just want a list inside of there. So then Things has made a checklist inside of that to be able to add more to a to-do. So then if you're checking for resting spots, maybe you're going across different states. I mean, if I was driving to California, I've got Texas, New Mexico, other states in between there. Sorry to those other states. But you've got a handy checklist underneath that to-do, and you can cross them off just like other normal to-dos. Pretty handy. And again, these tasks or all this complexity, you don't have to participate in all this. You don't have to do areas. You don't have to do projects. If you just simply hit the plus button and add a to-do into this manager, I could see having tremendous value anyway. A lot of people just putting things into today and then having a big list of tasks that they can go over will still have tremendous value there. Let's see. One of the interesting things about things is that they have their own cloud service, Things Cloud. So you can sign into an account that you've created, and it will store all of your content so you can sync that across to an iPad or a Mac. So that way you'll always have those to-dos. I have been using things in the past, and I had some to-dos from there. I just signed in. I brought in all of the to-dos from back then, and some of them were actually pretty handy. Let's see. You can also, I was mentioning that you can have tasks inside of the upcoming section and have them listed by day. You can integrate your calendar into things by hitting the Show Events button. It'll ask you for access to your iOS calendar, and then it imports all of the events almost instantly there. Pretty cool. So you can see your tasks and your calendar events side by side. Another neat feature is when you go into settings, you can turn on Siri. So if you say, remind me to get eggs inside of Siri, and it will go to your default reminders list. Then, let's give it access to reminders here. Anything that's in this reminders list will show up inside of things in the inbox, which is pretty cool. So that way you can just dictate different to-dos throughout your day. That's about it for things. I wanted to give you a quick overview, and that's about it. I appreciate you spending your attention with me, and I hope you continue to go full screen ahead.